Good evening from Birmingham, Alabama. We currently have the Dash 900ER. Delta Airlines ready to go to very nearby Atlanta. It's typically a very short route, except that we are taking off to the west and landing to the west. So it's going to require 2 U-turns, which is going to add some time to the flight. Back in the flight deck, we are all set to go. We're going to go over the flows before pushback, and we'll be on our way. Pre-flight checklist. Oxygen tested 100%. Navigation transfer and display switches normal auto. Window heat is on. Navigation transfer and display switches are normal auto. Pressurization mode selector auto. Flight instruments. Initial heading 238. Altimeter 29er. Decimal 9er. Parking brake is set and engine start levers are cut off. Pre-flight checklist complete. Before start checklist, flight deck door closed and locked. Fuel pumps are on. Passenger signs are on. Windows are locked. MCP settings V2 150. Heading 238. Cruise altitude will be 270, and there are no altitude restrictions during departure. CDU pre-flight is completed. The rotor and the aileron trim are free and zero. Taxi and takeoff briefing completed, and the anti-collision light is on. Before start checklist complete.
Cockpit to ground. Go ahead. We've been cleared for pushback and start. They want the tail to our right. Copy that. Ready to push. Tail to the right. Parking brakes release, please. Brakes released. Brakes released, here we go.
Starting number 2. Number 1.
Pushback complete. Parking brake set. Brake set. Steering pin is pulled. Watch for the salute and release from guidance on your right. Have a good flight.
Before taxi, generators on. Probe heat on, anti-ice off, isolation valve auto. Engine start switches, continuous. Recall checked. Auto brake RTO, engine start levers, idle detent. Flight controls checked and ground equipment clear. Before taxi checklist complete, before takeoff checklist, flaps 5, green light. Trim, 4 decimal, 45 units. Before takeoff checklist complete.
Southwest 1723 pushback request accepted. Birmingham ground, American 5436 with Charlie ready to taxi IFR. American 5436 taxi to and hold short of runway 24 using taxiway Echo Charlie, cross runway 18 Charlie. Contact tower on 119er decimal 9er when ready. Taxi to and hold short runway 24 via taxiway Echo Charlie, cross runway 18 Charlie American 5436. Birmingham ground Southwest 172 with Charlie ready to taxi IFR. Southwest 172 taxi to and hold short of runway 24 via taxiway Echo Charlie, cross runway 18 Charlie. Contact tower on 119er decimal 9er when ready. Taxiing, hold short runway 24 via taxiway Echo Charlie, cross runway 18 Charlie Southwest 1723. Birmingham ground American 1804 taxi to the gate. American 1804 taxi to gate 1 tree using taxiway Alpha. Taxiing to gate 1 tree via taxiway Alpha American 1804.
Birmingham Tower Delta 739er ready at runway 24 straight out departure.
Delta 739er altimeter 29er decimal 9er 8 wind 308 at 12. Departing straight out approved. Cleared for takeoff runway 24.
Cleared for takeoff runway 24 Delta 739er.
Runway entry procedure. Takeoff. Stable engines. Check.
Delta 4177 wind 308 at 12. Cleared to land runway 24.
Positive rate of
Cleared to
climb.
land runway 24
Europe.
Delta 4177. Birmingham Tower Delta approach. Delta 2883 Birmingham Tower. Altimeter 29.98, wind 308 at 12. Cleared ILS runway 24 approach. Delta 739er, leaving my airspace frequency change approved.
Birmingham Tower Delta 739er frequency change.
Flaps 1. Helna, Command A. Flaps up.
Birmingham approach Delta 4177 is missed approach at Birmingham. Delta 4177, you are 1 mile northeast. Climb and maintain 3,000 feet. Expect ILS runway 24 approach via Victor Uniform Zulu transition. Clear to Victor Uniform Zulu. Delta 4177, climb and maintain 3,600 feet. Climb and maintain 3,600 feet. Expect ILS runway 24 approach via Victor Uniform Zulu transition. Clear to Victor Uniform Zulu Delta 4177.
After takeoff checklist. Engine bleeds on, packs auto. Landing gear up and off. Flaps up, no lights. After takeoff checklist complete. Past 10,000, landing lights out.
American 5574 traffic is 10 o'clock, 4 miles at 3,600 feet. Report them in sight. American 5574 descend and maintain 3,600 feet. Delta 4177 traffic is 11 o'clock, 2 miles at 5,500 feet.
Okay, we'll take a brief pause from the video and resume during descent. We'll see you then. Okay, we're back passing through 10,500 on our descent into Atlanta. So we expect to be landing on runway 26 right. We'll be using the ILS approach. So we're currently heading northeast, and then we will turn right to the east to start our downwind leg. For those of you very familiar with Atlanta, it's one of the busiest hubs in the world. So separation sequencing is very important here. So it's one of the reasons this part of the approach is so extensive. So it's a very long track. Runway at 26 right is 9,000 feet. We should be able to exit either at B5 or B3. And we'll probably be parking in Concourse C. We'll see how ground is operating and how much traffic is on the ground.
Atlanta Tower Delta 739er is 7 miles northeast 6,800 feet with kilo to land.
Delta 739er, Atlanta Tower. Altimeter 29er, decimal 9er tree, wind tree 25 at 11. Enter left base runway 26 right.
Enter left base runway 26 right Delta 739er.
I've been reading on forums and just talking to fellow simmers that post-service update 13, a lot of parts of the world are getting very stuttery frame rates. I have a high-end computer, probably one of the newest, fastest ones available. So there seems to be a consensus that service update 13 was just rushed. There's some other bugs like asking you to update your packages, saying there's an essential packages update available, and when you click on that, it just loops you back to the startup screen and then again back to the same message, so nothing is being installed or updated. So hopefully they'll fix that. It's just a nuisance more than anything else. I can work around it by ignoring it. All that said, I definitely appreciate the constant updating and an improvement process, but sometimes I have to just check out those updates thoroughly before they go public. We are going to come in at flaps 30, and the final approach speed, including the wind correction, will be 144 knots. Okay, we already know the altimeter in Atlanta is 29er decimal 903. We went over the approach, so that finishes our descent and approach checklists. Next will be the landing checklist as we get closer. Flaps 1. Okay, localizer intercept confirmed. And right at 11 o'clock, you can see already the airport runway and runway lights. And if you've never been here, this is a huge facility. Flaps 5. Okay, looks like the glide slope's alive, so I'm gonna dial in the approach and wait for the intercept. About 20 knot crosswind. Birmingham was also almost identical. Winds coming from about 330 at 20 to 25 knots. That's why we had that bit of a push during takeoff. As soon as we were off the ground, the airplane was already drifting to one side. Gear down. I think since the PMDG 737 series came out for flight sim, I've always turned off the autopilot around this part of the flight, especially with very good visual conditions. But I should give the automation a try to see how it performs with this crosswind. So yeah, let's give it that a try. I just have this urge to just want to fly the plane manually. I kind of feel guilty flying on autopilot when you can see everything so well. Flaps 15.
Clear to land runway 26 right, Delta 739er.
Flaps 25. Let's do an external view. The airplane is definitely crabbing to compensate for that. Now it's a 19 knot crosswind. Yeah, so it's definitely crabbing. It's also a nice screenshot. Let me take a screenshot. I like saving some of these for later. Okay, so took a screenshot. Okay, flaps 30. With continuous engine starters. Speed brake armed. Landing gear down, flaps 30. Landing checklist complete. Alright, let's see how it performs a fully automated landing. I actually did a fully automated landing on this runway coming in from Seoul. On one of those days that was icy and zero visibility. It might have been on one of the other runways, or one of the Cat 3 runways. I don't know if 26 Red has the same qualifications, but anyways, that was really interesting, just to see nothing but all of a sudden touchdown smoothly on the ground. Okay, so that was the automated landing. A little sloppy. Okay, let's go reverse green. Speed brake up. Manual braking.
Delta 739er exit runway when able.
And okay to clean up.
Delta 739er, contact ground on 129er decimal 375.
129er decimal 375 for Delta 739er.
This is the Imagine Sim version of Atlanta for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 comes with a custom Atlanta airport, if you will. But from a quality perspective, the third-party developers, for the most part, are doing better than Asobo. So I went ahead and got this one and just deactivated the Asobo version. I definitely don't recommend having them both installed simultaneously. You get a lot of duplication, like on runway lights and runway markings, those kind of things. Let's get the APU started. We can turn our weather radar off and also our TCAS off. And I'm just gonna find an empty gate for this kind of aircraft. That American Eagle flight would normally be on Terminal Tango, which is the very first one in that direction.
Ground Delta 739er, could you please connect the jetway to the aircraft?
Delta 739er, the jetway is going to be connected.
Okay, shutdown checklist. Fuel pumps off, probe heat off, hydraulic panel set, flaps up. Parking brake set. Engine start levers cut off. Weather radar off. Shutdown checklist complete. I'm gonna simulate a turnaround also. So I am gonna go ahead and continue on to Valparaiso, Florida. So what I'll simulate right now, while I get the sim brief for that flight, I'll basically simulate a walk around. So let's just pretend we're backing off here from the cockpit, and we're gonna go check out the plane on the outside, and we'll come back soon to get the next flight started. So I'm gonna again hit the pause button real quick. I'm gonna go to sim brief, plan the flight, and we'll see you again on the flight deck. Okay, we're back doing our final preparation to continue on to Valparaiso, Florida. And they assigned New Orleans as our alternate. Flight level 260 will be our final altitude, and our leg space does not have any altitude restrictions. So I normally like to just simulate continuous climb and continuous descent whenever possible, especially since I'm not using any realistic ATC right now. And we'll make sure we get connected here to our tug for pushback. Everything's pretty much ready to go. I'll reset our lists here from the previous flight, because we need to remove the jet bridge.
Ground Delta 739er, could you please disconnect the jetway from the aircraft? Ground Delta 739er with Kilo request taxi to the active departing straight out.
Delta 739er taxi to and hold short of runway 27 right via taxiway Romeo Alpha Mike Papa for Echo Lima Lima 12 Mike Lima Bravo, cross runway 27 right Lima Alpha. Contact tower on 123.85 when ready.
Taxi to and hold short runway 27 right using taxiway Romeo Alpha Mike Papa for Echo Lima Lima 12 Mike Lima Bravo cross runway 27 right Lima Alpha Delta 739er.
Okay, before start checklist. Flight deck door closed and locked. Fuel pumps are on. Passenger signs on. Windows locked. MCP settings. V2 158 knots. Heading 275. Altitude 260. Takeoff speeds are checked. CDU preflight completed. Rudder aileron trim. Free and 0. Taxi and takeoff briefing completed. Anti-collision light on. We'll be using runway 27 right for takeoff.
Cockpit to ground. Go ahead.
We've been cleared for pushback and start. They want the tail to our left.
Roger that. Ready to push. Tail to the left. Park brakes off.
Brakes released.
Brakes released. Here we go.
Number 1. Correction, number 2. Number 1.
Pushback complete. Parking brake set.
Brake set.
Steering pin is pulled. Watch for the salute and release from guidance on your right. Have a good flight.
Before taxi checklist, generators on. probe heat on, anti-ice off, isolation valve auto, engine start switches, continuous recall, checked auto brake RTO, engine start levers, idle descent, flight controls checked, ground equipment clear. Before taxi checklist complete, before takeoff checklist, flaps 5. Altimeter 4.50, correction, trim 4.50 units. Before takeoff checklist complete, ready to taxi.
Atlanta Tower Delta 739er ready for departing straight out at runway 27 right.
Delta 739er, altimeter 29er tree, wind tree 15 at 10. Straight out departure approved. Cleared for takeoff runway 27 right.
Cleared for takeoff runway 27 right, Delta 739er.
Okay, runway entry procedure. Takeoff. Stable. Thrust set. Check.
B1. Rotate. Positive rate climb.
Gear up.
Delta 739er, leading my airspace frequency change approved.
Atlanta Tower Delta 739er frequency change.
VNAV, LNAV. Command A. Okay, we are on VNAV, LNAV, Command A, but the plane is not accelerating. Let me make some adjustments here. Okay, there we go. Flaps 1. Flaps up. After takeoff, engine bleeds on, packs auto, landing gear up and off. And flaps up. No light. After takeoff, checklist complete. Okay, 10,000. Lights off. Okay, let me go over the route with you as we do this climb. We are currently on a southeasterly, mostly south heading. Once we intercept Sierra Alpha Romeo Golf Echo, we'll be turning to the southwest. Updating the landing data, just based on some new information. We are going to be landing on runway 30. And we'll be using the RNAV Zulu approach to runway 30 with transition Alpha Uniform Sierra Sierra Echo. So we'll plot it here on the map. For those of you not familiar with Valparaiso, Florida, I'm gonna pull up a map here. I've actually done this flight a couple of times from Atlanta. Delta Airlines had just taken over Northwest, so I got to actually fly a DC-9-30 from Atlanta to Valparaiso. And on the other occasion, I got to fly the DC-9-30. Oh, I also did it on Northwest Airlines from Memphis to Valparaiso. And then the other, only other time was on a Delta Connection CRJ-200 when Atlantic Southeast Airlines still existed. But the story behind Valparaiso is actually Eglin Air Force Base. The passenger terminal has been in operation, more than 20 years now, but for me, who I'm in my 50s, so it still feels kind of new to have a passenger terminal here. But the good thing about it is that it gives you access to Florida's northwest beaches, and a few miles to the east you have Panama City, so the Florida Beaches Airport, so another commercial operation there. So we'll be landing on runway number 30. Very long runway. Probably just gonna do an auto brake of 1 because the terminal's actually at the very end of the runway, and the airline traffic is very low. The Air Force tends to use the other runway more, 2 and 20, and it makes sense with the locations of the military aviation compared to the civilian aviation. So that's pretty much our approach plan. I guess since I last came to Fort Walton Beach, Florida, they added this C gates. Before it was just the Alpha and Bravo gates. Okay, so we'll take that out and continue our climb, and I will check back in once we start descending. See you then. Okay, back. We just leveled off at 4,000. Beautiful Northwest Florida evening. It's gonna be a very nice visual approach.
Eglin Tower Delta 739er is 21 miles east 3,300 feet with Oscar to land.
Delta 739
Flaps 1.
Tower. Altimeter 29.99er, wind tree 4 at 10. Make straight in runway 30.
Fly straight in runway 30 Delta 739er.
So we started in Birmingham, went to Atlanta, now gonna be landing here in Valparaiso, Eglin Air Force Base. The wind has pretty much remained from the roughly 330, between 15 and 25 knots.
Turn next taxiway.
So this is gonna be actually our real first headwind since we started our segments back in Birmingham.
Delta 209er 5, contact ground on 121.8. Going to 121.8, Delta 209er 5.
Flaps 5.
Delta 739er, wind tree 4 at 10. Clear to land runway 30.
Clear to land runway 30 Delta 739er.
You're done? And just to confirm, our flaps 30 speed will be 154 knots with the wind correction. Okay, manual flight, I have control. Flaps 15. Flaps 25. Flaps 30. Landing checklist complete. Landing.
Approaching minimums. 100. Minimums. 40. 20. 10.
Speed brake up. Idle reverse. I mentioned we need to go to the very end of the runway, so that's why I'm not applying any reversers. I have auto brakes on 1, I'm already on manual braking. And there's a terminal over there, so that's why it's easier to just go to the end of the runway. Okay to clean up.
Delta 739er, turn next taxiway. Delta 739er, contact ground on 121.8.
121.8 for Delta 739er. Ground Delta 739er taxi to the gate.
Delta 739er taxi to gate 5 Bravo via taxiway Delta 1.
Taxiing to Gate 5 Bravo using taxiway Delta 1 Delta 739er.
So we don't have an option to connect the gate. So I'm just going to request some stairs and begin unloading here. Alright, so let's get our configuration for ground services to use stairs. Okay, stairs are set. And let's get our steady position light. Okay, anti-collision off. Hydraulic set. And now we'll request our ground services. And again, I'm going to treat this as a flight that's going to immediately go back to Atlanta and not overnight here yet because it's still pretty early. Okay, so for shutdown, with the exception of the APU, fuel pumps are off, probe heat is off, hydraulic panel is set, flaps are up. With the ground connections, we can remove the parking brake, start levers cut off, and weather radar off. Shutdown checklist complete. So welcome to Fort Walton Beach, Florida, Valparaiso Airport / Edgar Air Force Base. Oh, there's another one of our Delta friends there. So that's probably the real Atlanta flight, at least in the FS traffic schedule. As always, thanks for tuning in. turned out to be a pretty nice evening. After the cloud bank that was over Atlanta, the weather became essentially perfect. So really smooth, no need for instruments, all visual. That's how I really enjoy flying a lot more. I'm sure a lot of you feel the same way. So we'll see you on the next flight. Always my big thanks for watching and for providing any feedback. And we'll see you soon. Take care.